Hey guys, in this video we've got more fun with standard form. We're going to be looking at multiplying terms written in standard form. So let's get cracking. Okay, so example 1, we want to multiply 2 times 10 to the power of 4 by 3 times 10 to the power of 5. Now first of all, it's really important to realise we don't really need the brackets here. This is one long chain of multiplication, so we could write it, if we have our pen, we could write it as 2 times 10 to the power of 4 times 3 times 10 to the power of 5. Now the next thing to remember is that multiplication is magic. It doesn't matter what order you do it in at all. So what we can do is reorder this multiplication so that the same kind of terms are sat next to each other. So what I mean by that is we could write it as 2 times 3 times 10 to the 4 times 10 to the power of 5. So we've got the two normal numbers sat right next to each other and the two power of 10 terms sat next to each other as well. So what do we do then? Well, we just carry out the multiplications. So, first of all, 2 times 3 on a good day is 6. Now that is being multiplied by, well, 10 to the power of 4 times 10 to the power of 5. And remember, when you multiply the same terms together, their powers add together. So if we're doing 10 to the power of 4 times 10 to the power of 5, that becomes 10 to the power of 9. So our final answer there is 6 times 10 to the power of 9. Job's a good one. Okay, example 2. 3 times 10 to the power of 7 times 1 times 10 to the power of 9. So we're going to do exactly what we did last time. Group the same terms together. So we've got 3 times 1 times 10 to the 7 times 10 to the 9. Okay, now 3 times 1 is 3. So we've got 3 times 10 to the power of 7 times 10 to the power of 9 is going to be 10 to the power of 7 add 9, which is 16. So our answer there is 3 times 10 to the 16. Okay, the next example. 3 times 10 to the power of 6 times 5 times 10 to the power of 8. Well, let's group the same terms together again. So we've got 3 times 5 times 10 to the power of 6 times 10 to the power of 8. Well, 3 times 5 is 15. Now 10 to the power of 6 times 10 to the power of 8 is going to be 10 to the power of 6 add 8, which is 14. Now that we might think when we've got here that we've got to our answer, but be very careful. 15 times 10 to the power of 14 is not in the standard form. Remember, standard form always has to be a single digit between 1 and 9, then with a decimal if it wants, with any amount of digits after it, times 10 to a power. So our problem here is 15. We need that to be 1.5. Now what have we done to 15 to turn it into 1.5? Well, we have divided it by 1 power of 10. We have just divided 15 by 10 to get 1.5. Now we can't just come along and do that to a number, because that's going to change the number completely. So, to account for dividing the 15 by 10, we're going to multiply 10 to the power of 14 by 1 power of 10. So that's going to increase its power from 14 to 15. So again, what we've done we've divided 15 by 1 power of 10 to get 1.5. Now, to counter that, we have to multiply the 10 to the power of 14 by 1 power of 10. So that increases to 10 to the power of 15. So our answer there is 1.5 times 10 to the power of 15. Rocking. Okay, the next example. 2 times 10 to the minus 3 times 3.5 times 10 to the 7. So we've got two slightly different things going on here. We've got a negative power and we also have a decimal number. That's nothing to fear there. So we could write this as 2 times 3.5 times 10 to the minus 3 times 10 to the 7. Now then, what's 2 times 3.5? Well, that's going to give us 7. And then, what is 10 to the power of minus 3 times 10 to the power of 7? Again, remember, we're just adding the indices together. So minus 3 add 7. Well, that's going to leave us with a power of 4. So our answer here is 7 times 10 to the power of 4. Jobs are good. Okay, well the next. 4 times 10 to the minus 5 times 1.2 times 10 to the minus 3. Well, we can write that as 4 times 1.2 times 10 to the minus 5 times 10 to the minus 3. Now then, what is 4 times 1.2? Well, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 0.2 is 0.8. So 4 times 1.2 is 4.8. So we got 4.8 times 10 to the what power? Well, we've got 10 to the minus 5 multiplied by 10 to the minus 3. Now minus 5 add minus 3 is minus 8. So we get 4.8 times 10 to the minus 8. Jobs are good. Okay, what about 2 times 10 to the power of 4 all squared? So there's two different ways we can think about this. Remember that when something is being squared, as we have here, it means that number times itself. So we could think of this as being 2 times 10 to the 4 times 2 times 10 to the 4. Now if we do what we've done in the previous examples, we could rewrite that as 2 times 2 times 10 to the 4 times 10 to the 4. Now 2 times 2 is 4, and 10 to the power of 4 times 10 to the power of 4 is 10 to the power of 8. How else could we think about that? Well, what's happening with that power on the outside? It affects both things inside of the bracket. So we could have 2 squared times 10 to the power 4 squared. Now 2 squared is 4. And if we square 10 to the 4, we're going to get 10 to the power of 4 times 2, which again gives us 10 to the power of 8. So, two different ways, exactly the same answer. On with the next. Okay, so this time we've got 5 times 10 to the power of minus 6 to the power of 3. So, we could write this out as 3 brackets, but that's going to get a little bit messy. So we could write it out as 5 times 10 to the minus 6 times 5 times 10 to the minus 6 times 5 times 10 to the minus 6. As I said though, that's going to be long and messy. So we're going to think of this one using the second method we used in the last example. That power of 3 on the outside is going to move inside of the brackets and give us 5 cubed times 10 to the minus 6 all cubed. Now 5 cubed is 125, and 10 to the power of minus 6 cubed is going to give us 10. Well, what's minus 6 times 3 is minus 18, so we've got 10 to the power of minus 18. Now then, is that the final answer? No. Our number is not written in standard form. So again, remember, we have to have a single digit before a decimal point. Then it can have as many digits as it likes after the decimal. So our problem here is that we've got 125. So that needs to become 1.25 for this number to be written in standard form. Now that, what have we done to 125 to turn it into 1.25? Well, we've divided it by 100. Or we can think of it as the decimal point moving 2 places to the left, like that. So we have divided by 2 powers of 10 to get to 1.25. So if we've divided that number by 2 powers of 10, then to account for it, we have to multiply the 10 term by 2 powers of 10. So the power of minus 18 has to increase by 2 powers of 10 because we are multiplying it by 2 powers of 10. So that's going to go up to minus 16, like that. So again, we've turned 125 into 1.25 by dividing by 100 or dividing by 2 powers of 10. So to account for that, we have to do the exact opposite. On the 10 term, we have to multiply that by 2 powers of 10, which means the power increases by 2. So it goes from minus 18 to minus 16. Okay guys, that's how we multiply using standard form. Hope it's helped. Was this video helpful? If so, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment letting me know how you get on. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss any videos. For any further information, you can find me on Facebook or Twitter. Search for Maths with Melv. Cheers guys.